What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? We back up in here, HellaFlagrant, the podcast, man. It's your main man, Flagrant DM. I got my brother Sean B, Flagrant. We up in here, episode number 9. Man, sports is going absolutely nuts this week. We got NFL offseason moves. We got scandal in college scholarships. We got NFL fans getting banned from games and having arguments with players, namely Russell Westbrook. We got the Warriors breaking apart, Steve Kerr and Draymond going at it. The Raiders don't have any money to sign any players, signing up for chicken sandwiches. What you got to
Uh,
say, Sean B, man? It's a crazy week in sports, bro.
yeah, yeah, it is a crazy week right now in sports. It's the NFL tampering weekend. Well, week I should say. Free agency. Everything begins for the 2019 season for the NFL. So everybody's, a lot of the weaker teams, I should say, are trying to throw all their chips in for next year and see what they can do. A lot of the bigger teams staying pat, but I mean, just like you were saying, it's a whole bunch of stuff in sports right now, from college to basketball to this. I mean, it's crazy. Fans fighting players, owners going against players and fans. It's crazy right now. So, I
Right.
mean, let's get into it. You feel me?
Yeah. So let's start with the NFL and the offseason moves being made across the National Football League. We're gonna start with a huge piece of news for your favorite team, the Oakland Raiders, who will remain the Oakland Raiders yet again
Yep.
after all that controversy we talked about, where they were possibly going to be the Reno Raiders. But we don't have to worry about that now. That now, Antonio Brown, you got your man,
Hey,
AB.
Mr. Big Chest. Mr. Big Chest is like he calls himself. I don't know what's going on. Okay, let me break this down. For us Oakland Raider fans, I mean it is a kind of a good start to the season. We're back in Oakland for at least one more year. Bittersweet moment, I guess, because I mean, trying to force us out or trying to leave us, and then saying that we'll come back for another year kind of hurts. But whatever, I get at least what 8, 7 more games of football to watch because they probably ain't gonna make the playoffs either way. Um, Bigger news though for us, of course, you just mentioned it. AB Antonio Brown, Mister Big Chest or whatever the hell he wants to call himself. He's coming to the Oakland Raiders, team up with Derek Carr. I am excited, even though I cannot stand his attitude. Now, let me break this down for you, for everybody who doesn't know who this man is. Nino Brown, AB, whatever he wants to call himself, he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, if not the best. Hands down. Now, he also comes with a huge attitude. He dyed his mustache back black, thank God. As we all know, it was blonde for a few months, looking crazy as hell. That dude looked like he was insane. Also, to go with his blue and yellow dreads that he has. So I mean, it wasn't a good look. Anyway, all that being said, like I said, great player. Derek Carr got a weapon. 30 million guaranteed, I guess. The greatest thing about that for Oakland Raider fans, we only gave up a third round pick and a fifth round pick, other than extending his contract, but he was going to get that regardless. So, not too bad. We still got our fourth or 24th or 27th pick that we threw all the rest of our team away. But I guess, hey, we got a, you know, stud wide receiver for at least another 3 years. Another move we made was sign Trent Brown, which was extremely questionable because although he did great for Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, we do not have Bill Belichick or Tom Brady um, at all. And we do not have their defensive coordinator or their offensive line coach, so it doesn't matter. So, by signing Trent Brown, who probably is the largest human being on earth, seriously, that man is humongous. But he can only do scheme things if you put him in the right situation. The 49ers, your team, decided to throw him away pretty much. No big surprise the Patriots turned dirt into gold. And now we overpaid the man and made him the highest offensive tackle in football.
Yeah.
Considering we already had one of the highest paid players offensive line in football.
Yeah. And so with that, as I mentioned at the top of this show, it has also come out that the Raiders are starting to have some cash flow issues. Um, And so, with that, there comes to be a lot of questions about, okay, you got AB, you made one or two other moves, and then what happens next? Like, what do you do now?
We signed AB for $30 million guaranteed. Guaranteed. I forgot what the end of the deal was, but I mean, it's well over $40-50 million.
I think it's 50
Uh,
something.
50 something. Trent Brown got around the same thing, a little bit more. We also signed Joyner, that used to play safety for the Rams for $42 million. But we couldn't build a stadium in Oakland. Look, this is it, folks. Mark don't got no money. Mark Davis don't have any type of money to be. If so, we would have signed Khalil Mack. Well, I think we should have signed Khalil Mack. They said that they didn't have the money, but yet still all of a sudden now we have the money. Go
Um,
figure.
and so with Oakland, only getting one more year to play in Oakland, um, some of the speculation has come out about, Mark and his Vegas ties and his Vegas connections, and maybe his Vegas ties are boosting the team up to juice them up to get ready for the move for Vegas. And so, um, you know, while this may be good for this current Raider team, somewhat, it looks like some of these moves are made, a little bit more long term.
Yeah. Like I said, Antonio Brown for 3 years that's a good look. He is older player in terms of he hit about 30. So I mean, older in football years, not old. But I mean, 3 more years of Antonio Brown is good. I can take that. The other two, I don't know. They had an old line before. Trent Brown is a younger guy, so I mean, I guess that's good. We drafted an offensive lineman last year, which made no sense because we just replaced him in a year. They might move him to right tackle, but whatever. My point is this: Oakland Raiders. I will say one thing: they did a little bit in the so far in the trade, free agent season so far that I'm fine with it. I mean, as long as they draft well, I can't be that mad.
Yeah,
Man, we went from losing Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper, and destroying Derek Carr's confidence in a year. At least this few months of the offseason has been a little bit better.
yeah. And my team, 49ers, really just signed two linebackers so far, D4, Quan Alexander. I don't even really have much to say about that. I mean, we needed defense, yes. We need a whole lot of other pieces too. We clearly needed a talks for both Odell and AB. Obviously, now we know neither one of those panned out, so we are still in the market for a wide receiver.
Right.
And we don't know what Jimmy G is going to be like coming back off an injury, so we may still be in the market for a quarterback. But other than that, yeah, I don't have much to say about the 49ers and the offseason moves right now. Really going on. But as I did mention, Odell Beckham Jr., arguably the other, the guy that might be up for best wide receiver, in the game right now, traded from the Giants to the now looking powerful Cleveland Browns. I mean, on paper, in the last couple hours, in the last 48, 72 hours, the Cleveland Browns have really powered themselves up, both offensively and defensively. And so they look to try to, as you told me on the phone, take over their division with the addition of Odell Beckham. They've already got Baker Mayfield. They've got, we can see what's going to happen with Kareem Hunt. And, they've added some key pieces on the defense. The Cleveland Browns, suffice it to say, they may be a team to look at.
Man, if you live in Cleveland right now after losing LeBron, after having before last year 2 of the worst seasons in the NFL, think about this: the Browns went from 0-16 to 1-15 to what 7-9, I guess, But then they wound up now grabbing. They already had Jarvis Landry. They just brought his best friend in the entire world, Odell Beckham Jr., who both played on high school and college teams together. Now they're together in Cleveland. They also got the speedster Kenny Galloway, who's I mean Chris or Kenny Galloway. Anyway, Galloway, he can fly. They also got David Njoku, who is a tight end who is came along really well. Defensively, they got um, Denzel Ward, Miles Garrett. Now they just added Olivier Vernon. I didn't mention Nick Chubb, their running back, as well as newly acquired my former running back on my fantasy team, who decided to take a break from football. We know why. Kareem Hunt, and of course their number one, quarterback, Baker Mayfield. This team, literally, think about this. This team now is 6-1 odds to win the Super Bowl this year. Think about Cleveland Brown. All Cleveland fans need to be at bars, getting drunk, partying all the rest of the week. Jobs should be closed. Work should be closed. If I would, I would have to.
No. Listen,
I would have
listen,
to.
listen.
I would have
This
to.
time last year, and probably on this podcast, the audio version, because we weren't on video yet, but this time last year, I was high fiving myself because my 49ers on paper looked amazing. We had two great running backs. We had a quarterback. We had some defense. By week 3, none of that was around. So, no, if I'm in Cleveland, especially with the luck that Cleveland fans have with sports in general, I'm sitting tight and I'm waiting because, hell no, I'm not celebrating right now because all it takes, and I knock on wood, you got all this high-powered offense, something happens to Baker Mayfield.
Hey, the fact that they have this team together right now for the next 24 hours at least, they should be happy. That's their season. That's their Super Bowl. They don't have to play 1 minute of any games. They have already won this year everything because nobody expected this team in the last 2 years to go from 0 wins to damn near the projected favorite, other than the obvious teams to win the Super Bowl. Like that's ridiculous. In 2 years, that should tell any football team if your team is terrible, suck, whatever. It doesn't take that much. Well, it does, but you gotta work hard. Basically, you gotta go after it. But Cleveland fans, party your ass off, get loaded, do everything possible. Because right now, like I said, on March 12th, you just won the Super Bowl. I don't know what's going to happen on March 13th or in September or anything else, but right now you won.
Yeah.
That's all. That right now you won.
Well, kudos to Cleveland and the Cleveland front office. Obviously making some major moves. So their new head coach will have a lot of fun this offseason, rallying this team together. That's a lot of attitudes to manage, a lot of egos to work with. So they're going to have, an interesting time working with all these pieces in the offseason. So it's going to be fun to see how all that pans out in the great city of Cleveland. Jumping out of the NFL into the NBA. Um, you know, we are post All-Star break, so we're looking at, a lot of different things in the NBA. Obviously, who's making the playoffs, who's not making the playoffs, injuries. We're looking at a lot of different things going on in the NBA. So, first off, before we get into some of the obvious things, number one, LeBron James, Mr. Basketball himself, the greatest player in the world right now. The discussion is up with his current injury and the way that he's been playing on his team. Should he still carry the label best player in the world? If not, who is the best player in the world right now? And, LeBron, are you tanking? Are you really as hurt as you claim to be?
Well, I don't know if he's necessarily tanking. I know he feels that he has to maintain his own image. So with that, I wouldn't say he wants to lose, but he also doesn't want to look bad. Um, for LeBron, it's the Lakers need to understand that if they plan to have him there for 4 years, they need to limit his minutes and Get sink or sea with the team, but don't push too hard. I mean, this man is old in basketball years. It's his 16th season. That's a lot. I mean, for anybody. Dwayne Wade is having his rally career, and we've seen Dirk pretty much dying on the court now. So, I mean, you got to understand when you get to the certain age.
How they give Dirk a farewell season and he didn't even announce he was retiring?
He said he thought about playing one more year. It's like, Dirk, if you do all this, if everything happens and everybody clapping for you and cheering for you everywhere you go, and then you come back next year, man, forget it. No way. Yeah, exactly. Like, you shouldn't even be allowed. They should ban you from playing now.
Like, it's like they take your driver's license away. Like, they just got to be like, nah.
Exactly. You're done. Like, we didn't spend all this money and have people cheering for you and wishing you farewell. No. Forget that. But anyway, so LeBron, I mean, this is a tough time for him. Obviously, the situation, we've talked about this before, about, the problems, I could just say, in-house with the team because of the, what's his name, Anthony Davis proposed trade.
Just say it.
Now,
say Magic Johnson messed it up.
Yeah, okay. Magic had no magic today. No. Like, he messed that up. Irvin did not deliver. That was an Irvin type of decision. Magic wasn't there. Magic wasn't there. That was all Irvin. But yeah, so I mean, okay, so like you said, Irvin messed it up. This is where we're at. Half the team doesn't want to play with LeBron. Half the team is okay with it because they don't want to get traded. They want to stay. So, I mean, what we have here now is Magic's going to have to come through the door next season. Because if we already going to establish that this team's not going to make the playoffs, what now? You cannot just waste years with LeBron at this point. You have to get to a point where next year they are contending for a championship. I don't know how that's going to work because, I mean, as we know, a lot of people are saying they, kind of players are saying that they don't really want to play with LeBron. But they got to figure something out. Magic's got to have to be Magic. You cannot hold this job anymore, Irvin. You have to be Magic. That's pretty much what it is. And if you don't, I mean, you're just wasting his time. And LeBron's legacy is truly going to go down to the bottom if,
I don't think LeBron's going to let that happen, though. I don't care if it's Magic Johnson or not. I think LeBron would take a secret meeting with Kobe, and him and Kobe would figure something out.
What is that going to happen? The 40-year-old and the 35-year-old are going to plan to take over the league? No. Like, what is that going to matter? They can talk all they want to talk. What do you think these old men are going to do? What's going to happen right now? Grumpy old men take the court and destroy? No, I don't need this.
No, I'm not saying Kobe's going to come back.
I was like, I'm not for this. This two-step.
I'm saying Kobe would backdoor some GM type stuff.
Oh, well, hopefully, because I was not for that. I was not for that combo.
I'm saying LeBron's not going to leave his legacy in Magic's hands if Magic is not doing his job. He will go to somebody else, like a Kobe or somebody else.
I got you.
Like, hey, I need you to go get whoever I need on this team and make this happen. No, I don't want to see Kobe. I want to see Kobe play. No.
I was afraid. I was afraid.
That's probably worse to see a Dirk play. Nah, I'm good.
Man, you know how big the smiles would be when you come in and you playing the Lakers, and this is what they're gonna try out: the 41-year-old with 17 kids and LeBron who is 17 years into the league. Yeah, come on.
Could you imagine that intro though? I see the lights coming on. Kobe just slowly walking out to the locker room. And he just catch a cramp before he gets into the bench and breaks.
Yeah, when all the players got their ice on their knees, Kobe got it before the game started. Like, come on, man. Like, no.
They're getting iced in their intros. Like, right. He's subbing out before the game even starts.
Yeah, no way. I was about to say that could not happen. But yeah, no, I agree with that. He's not gonna. He can't. Briefly talking about it too. What happened a few days ago? LeBron passed Michael Jordan in scoring, all-time scoring, and the shameful thing about it was the Lakers fans didn't even care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I get it. Like, I get it. He's not, your own, but he is your own. Like, he might not have been homegrown, just like the situation with the Warriors and Durant. It doesn't mean just because he didn't start and wasn't drafted like Steph or Kobe doesn't mean that you shouldn't celebrate him if he's on your team. You know what I'm
No new,
saying?
no,
Like,
no new friends. I started with my day ones. No new friends.
well,
Started from the bottom down
that's that's fine, but I mean, day one's is getting old, so you you gotta get some friends that can keep up because if you keep booing these old men, you ain't gonna have nothing to do. So
No, I hear that though. And um, LeBron does. He's gotta figure out for himself, what he wants to do in terms of the rest of this season. Obviously, they got him on a minutes restriction, which I think is bogus. I think that's just more for protecting his image, so he doesn't have to be out there looking lackluster on defense. Um,
oh yeah,
but the team and as a whole has to figure out what they're going to do and make some moves because again, like I said, I don't think LeBron is going to let somebody else control his legacy. If he doesn't feel like it's going his way, he's going to do his best to step in and try to get whatever players he feels like he wants to be able to make a winning team happen for next season. So we'll see what happens there. Um, he touched on uh, a little subject that we didn't even really talk about yet. And you said it when you talked about LeBron. When he passed Jordan, the fans weren't really cheering and into it. My guy, my favorite Warrior, Klay Thompson, issued a statement after the Warriors lost to the Suns the other night and said that the fans need to be a little bit more engaged in these Warrior games and said when they make a great play or a great shot, they're not even standing up and cheering anymore. So, as diehard Warrior fans, looking at this current Warrior team and the way they've been playing, are they giving you a reason to stand up and cheer? A. B. Do we owe it to them? C. Are Warrior fans just kind of used to seeing this anyway, and so it's like, well, what am I cheering for? We do this on a regular Tuesday night every Tuesday anyway.
yeah. I'll start off with C first, just because it's just right there. Warrior fans are spoiled and they're used to it. Um, they overreact when we have one bad game. You know I wouldn't say they get too excited, but they just pretty much we do this. This is our team. We know what we can do. We not we beat a team by 30. Who cares? Now, um, are they giving us a reason to cheer right now? If you go on the standards of what the Warriors have given us, no. They're still number one in the West. They're not in the entire league, but I mean they're not further than what, second or third.
Third.
Yeah, which is not great, but if you really want to be honest with, they had the same situation last year. Houston and Toronto had better records than them last year. So no, we're not. We're not in a bad situation, but I will say this for Klay Thompson, I can completely understand what he's saying. He's used to a certain way of how fans were at Oracle Arena. This is the last year, and it sucks for especially for true Warrior fans who've been there for before the good days. But right now it's kind of hard for a lot of fans, I think, to get up for the games because their team is not getting up for the games either. We've had very slow starts in damn near all of our games, at least since the All Star break. I don't know
Especially
if that's
home games too, for whatever
home
reason.
games, especially. Yep, especially. And we've lost bad games at home. A
Yeah.
lot of blowouts at home. Look, I understand this team can't get up for every game. I understand they played 5 years, 4 or 5 years, whatever, in the finals. Um, or they're going to play, I should say, 5 years in the finals. It's a lot. It's a lot for anybody. I mean, I get it. They have a lot going on this year, I think, internally, as well as out, on the court. They're still trying to figure out DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is still trying to figure out who the hell he is
Yeah.
because he's not anywhere close to what he used to be.
Nope.
And their bench is not very good. Period, point blank. So a lot of times before, when the Warriors starters couldn't really pick it up, the bench would come in, either hold their own or get a bit of lead, and the Warriors could come and take over the starters at least. They're not doing that this year. Um, they're shooting decently, I guess you could say, but they're having huge slumps right now. Steph is in a slump. Before Clay earlier this year was in a slump. Draymond has been in a slump the entire year. He can't shoot for a damn. His shot is pretty not gone, but he's not taking a lot of shots anymore. Durant has been playing perfectly fine, but I think there's a lot going on, you know, internally and
off
in
the court.
Kevin Durant's brain. And
Yeah,
you know,
I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Warriors are having both the team and us as Warrior fans, I think, are having this weird hangover from the last four seasons. And when I
four
say that,
seasons.
I mean like we've been on this crazy roller coaster. We won one, we lost one, we won two, um, all in somewhat dramatic fashion. Um, and so you kind of get on this high or this feeling of okay, wow, it's up, everything is kind of great, and I think this season, not to say that people would have expected, but I think people would feel differently. Like if the Warriors were just bad, all the way bad, people would be like, oh, I see why. They've been through a lot. Everybody's ready to move on. Cool. But the fact that they're still winning games and they're still number one in the West, as you said, number three overall in the NBA, it's like, all right, cool, that's cute, but do something now to entertain us. Because you're
Right.
still our little, you know what I'm saying? You're still our little favorite toy, and so now we still want to see you do something else. And so it's like, well, what else? What else do y'all want me to do? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
as a team, I can get it from a player standpoint. It's like, all right, we're coming out here. Yeah, we're gonna have games where we lose. Now, should we lose to the Phoenix Suns on a comeback from Devin Booker? Absolutely not. That should never happen. But
Book was playing though. He was playing.
he was playing.
He was
And the
hooping.
other half of it, and the other half of the argument is, and I've been saying this, and we've been saying this for the last couple seasons, is the Warriors don't play, especially this half of the season. They don't play regular games. Every team that comes to play the Warriors or the Warriors go to play in their stadium, that other team is treating it like a playoff game.
Of
Whereas the
course.
Warriors may be like, man, this is a Tuesday night game. I just came here to play, get some shots off, and you know what I'm saying? This team over here is playing it like it's a playoff game, and now I got to put my 100% out every single night on the court because this is what I'm being thrown at. And so I get it. You know what I mean? I get it from a player standpoint where it's like, all right, we are still trying to play. We may not be giving y'all the best, but on the other side, as Steve Kerr alluded to
Huh.
in his little comment in that loss to the Phoenix Suns about Draymond Green. He was tired of Draymond shit, and there's some stuff on the court that we as fans are kind of getting tired of. I mean, how many fouls is Draymond going to argue? How many
Or
times
Boogie.
is Boogie going to flare up his arms and just throw the ball at the other team's defender? Like, here, have it, and I'm just going to flare my arms up and hope somebody calls a foul. Like, come on, bro, you got to play the game at some point. We went and got Bogut. Like, if that doesn't
Right.
tell you anything, like, if that doesn't say anything to y'all, like,
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think the analogy with the hangover is probably the best thing I could think of. It's one of those things that like for the last 4 years, like we've just been on this super binge partying, fans, players, like we're just all in this huge like, you know, party weekend. And this season is like that Sunday before you have to go back to work.
right.
And you're sitting there and it's just like everything's starting to come up. You're looking at your phone like, oh shit, I did this. I did this. Like, damn, I remember this. And
I
it's
got
like, oh,
crazy
that wasn't
feelings.
great. Right. That's everything that's coming out right now for Warrior fans and players. It's just like everything is just like it seems like things aren't right. Like where's where's what happened last night? Where is the players and all of my friends that were partying with me last night? Why is it that I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it and it's just like this ain't the same. This is, I don't feel good about this. I'm just laying here and I'm pissed off at this person and this person and this person because it ain't. It's just everything. We're coming down as Warrior fans and the players and the organization. Everything is getting. I'm not saying it's getting stale. It's just it's to a point where it's past normal. It's just
right,
Now it's just we expect too much. You know what I'm saying? Before we had the slogan "We believe." Now it's "We expect."
right,
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's I need this done this way because I already know you can do it. And as players, they're sitting there like, well, I do this off the court. I do this, and I got this going on. I got this going on. I got this going on. Plus, I'm older. Plus, I've had to play it. Plus, I've done this. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, what do you want? It's game 67, and you
right.
sitting there mad at me because we didn't win by 10 points. Well, this is what happens. This is why teams don't win you know, back to back to back to back to back championships all the time. Like it doesn't happen because it's hard to play with the same cast for the most part, do the same thing over and over and over again, and expect to still win at a high rate and please everybody because we've already seen the 73 win team.
Right.
We've already seen the team that lost what a few games, one game in the playoffs and then the finals. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen the team before Durant. We've seen us blowing out the Cavs last year easily
Right.
for the most part. How can you top that? You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, you can't really top it because I've been to a parade last year, the year before that, 2 years before that. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like I'm supposed to do this all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean, in my job, I have my floating day around the 15th of June because I know I'm going to be pushing that somewhere so I can go down to downtown Oakland.
And that's crazy if you think about it. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy that for the last 5 years you could put that on a calendar and be like, all right, parade, parade,
Right.
playoffs, fire. Like me too. Like I literally, the year I was there for the parade, that February, I plan
Mhm.
to be there in time for the parade. Like
Exactly.
months in advance. And so when you look at that, like from a player standpoint, it is. You start to ask yourself, are the fans expecting us to do this, and is it a lot? You know what I mean? From the fan side, though, like you said, we've suffered through a lot of weak years, and so I feel how some fans can be like, "No, we want to juice this for as much as we can, for as long as we can." Especially if you're leaving from Oakland, those diehard, Oakland fans that have watched the Warriors play in East Oakland, for a number of years. Granted, they did come from San Francisco to Oakland, so they didn't originate there, but they have been there in my entire lifetime, which is 35 plus years. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Um, so for some people, that's all they've ever known, like me, like you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's where they've been. Our whole lives is right there. So this minor move for some, like some people, oh, it's just across the water. Yeah, it's small, but it's big. Um, and I think that plays a part to what's going on with the team right now a little bit too. Um, that move, the potential move of KD with Kyrie to New York, all the speculation around that. Speculation about is Clay going to stay? There's a lot of talk about him going to one of the LA teams. Um, should Draymond even stay? Do we care if Draymond stays? Excuse me. I think all of that plays into how the Warriors are playing right now. As a
It
unit,
has
will
to.
it affect them long term? No. I think they'll push enough of that to the side to be able to get through the playoffs and play basketball. Um, but I do think right now, in this little muck of the season before you get to the end kind of time where it's always kind of weird like this, I think those are all the factors that people are going to point at.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think it has to. It has to weigh in. They're the only team that's being talked about like that, other than I mean, I could say the Lakers, because of LeBron and how he needs to do with his team. Nobody cares too much. I'm not saying they don't care, but nobody's really sweating anybody else going into free agency other than KD for the most part, and then Kyrie, whatever. Where did we come up with this idea that KD wanted to go? The media does that. But in
Right.
the same sense, you got to understand, just like you guys are watching us, KD probably watches us too. I don't know. I'm just saying that, maybe. But
he
even if he
watches
doesn't,
every,
he
he
watches.
watches everything on the internet that niggas
Right,
is saying.
exactly. He watches something though. And if every single station that's talking about something is saying he's going to go to New York, what if he's not even thinking about that? But even if he is or if he's not, that's his business. We're going to talk about it, yes, but the fact of the matter is he has to hear it from everybody it's going to take a toll on him, as well as the other people on his team. Because think about it. If somebody on your team was sitting there and it was like, oh, all I can hear is, oh, he's going to do this. He's going to leave us. He don't care about us. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Maybe one day you might go and be like, hey, you going to leave? And he's like, nah, I ain't going to go nowhere. But you don't know that.
Right.
You got to plan for yourself. That's why the whole situation with the Draymond and him at L.A. earlier this year was such a big deal, because it seemed like, maybe this had something to do with free agency, because Draymond's going to want his money in 2 years. Clay still has to get paid. Boogie, I mean, he's probably going to leave, but I mean, what if for some reason he doesn't feel like his rehab is going well enough and he wants to come back? Please don't, for my sake, but he could.
I don't know who's going to sign Boogie.
No, well, that's the thing. That's my point. Like, because who's going to give him the contract he wants? He might as well stay with the Warriors and rehab even more. That's maybe his thought, but I don't know. My point is, I just feel like the Warriors have too many extra things, including the situation. Clay saying, I need the fans, is just his way of venting. That's Clay. Clay don't say nothing about anything. He ain't yelling at people like Durant on the court, or not Durant, I'm sorry, Boogie or Draymond, or being mean to the media like Durant is. The only thing he had to say was, I wish the fans could cheer more.
Yeah.
That was him. That was his eyelash.
And from him, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
I mean,
that.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, I get it, but right now, just like you guys, we're kind of in a daze too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's the roundabout saying. Just like you guys, we're in a daze too, because it don't make sense to us neither.
Yep. And so, in other HellaFlagrant news, just coming out today, actually, as of recording this show, a scandal has broken out, and this is kind of weird. So, the FBI is alleging that some college coaches were involved in taking bribes to get some wealthy kids admitted into colleges. According to both ESPN and CBS Sports News, a gentleman by the name of William Singer, also known as Rick, called himself an admissions consultant in the state of California, and basically he was dubbed as a guy that would go to wealthy people and say, hey, I can help get your kid into some of these prestigious schools. If your child is having some academic issues, I can help get them in. And so basically his system was he would find or work with college coaches and find scholarships that were unused or potentially going to go unused in sports that were less popular. So obviously not your footballs and your basketballs, but things like sailing, tennis, soccer. I think I saw water polo on the list, volleyball. So where they may have 2 or 3 extra scholarships sitting around, he would find those, have the parent give a donation to the school. With that donation, their child would get this scholarship because either their child didn't have the grades or they were on the waiting list for some of these very prestigious schools. And so to move them up in the process, they got this athletic scholarship. They would take the scholarship. Once they got admitted to the school, fake an injury and continue to fake that injury so they could stay at the school free of charge, obviously, and their parents would pay this consultant. And so this consultant netted, they say, roughly $25 million. And there are about 40 people indicted in this, they call it Operation Varsity Blues, this FBI thing. Now, so why this is a slightly even bigger story is that 2 Hollywood actresses, Felicity Huffman from Desperate Housewives and Lori Loughlin, who was Aunt Becky on Full House,
oh no!
are among 2 of those
Oh
people that
no!
paid to bribe to have their kid admitted into these colleges. And so Huffman was actually taken into custody. I don't know if Lori Loughlin was taken into custody or not, but it says Felicity Huffman was actually taken into custody and can be released on a $250,000 bond, and her travel is restricted.
Oh man! What? Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that much of it. Man, that's so obviously William Singer. What is his name? Rick? Is that his
Yeah,
nickname?
that's his nickname, Rick. I don't know how you
Oh,
get Rick from Willie.
I don't know. I mean, I guess he just tried to get the furthest name away from what his real name was. That way, if he got caught. Okay. Anyway, so him doing all this to get people into school. I mean, that's pretty smart. I mean, it's not a great idea. I mean, in terms of he
At all.
shouldn't do that. I'm not. I'm definitely not encouraging anybody to ever do this. But I mean, hearing that you break it down, I didn't think about it because there are a lot of scholarships that go unused, especially in sports that are not as popular. And if you think about it, it is hard to get into college. There are millions and millions and millions of people trying to get in every university, trying to better their lives in education, and they just don't get looked at because there's just application after application after application. You have to really stand out to get in these schools. So, wow, yeah, I mean that is it's a terrible thing, but I mean it's pretty thought out. Now, I don't know what's going to happen from this. You said that she was taken to jail. One of the actresses was taken to jail. Um,
Yeah,
what is it? For
from Desperate
so what?
Housewives, Felicity Huffman.
So are they gonna? What is she? What is she being charged with?
She's being charged with wire fraud, mail
Oh,
fraud. Um, let me see. There was another.
that's
What
a
was the charge?
that's
Oh damn, it was a weird one. Honest services fraud, conspiracy to
damn.
commit wire fraud and mail fraud.
I mean, that's still pretty serious. I mean, she's gonna get something for that if she gets
Yeah,
convicted. I don't
and
know. I
again,
mean,
like I said,
that's
I mean, there's several other people indicted, including coaches from schools such as Georgetown, Stanford, UCLA, USC, Texas, Wake Forest, and Yale.
now obviously these schools will be in a lot more trouble from this than the actresses or any parents, I should say. Even though you normally know that your child is going to be, I guess, getting boosted up in the ranks, you don't really know. You can plead that you had no idea that William Singer was not with an not with the university, or that he was not. He did not lead you into a way that thinking you would be okay in doing what you're doing. Now, I don't like I said. I'm kind of shocked because I didn't even think about
Well,
anything
here's
like this.
here's where the university is going to save face, and they're going to keep it between the coach and this Singer guy, is because the William Singer would go as far as, so let's say, Felicity Huffman or whatever, her I don't know if it was her son or daughter that was admitted into school, but regardless, let's say they didn't have the grades to make it or their SAT scores weren't there, so they stepped to Mr. Singer and said, hey, I heard you can get my child into the school. I got to make a donation to this athletics program, yada yada yada, and they'll open up the scholarship for my kid and let them into school. And so they go through it with the coach, and the coach makes it happen. They go as far as making fake profiles, like they have the kid put on a uniform, like they make a
Wow.
like an online, they make some fake training videos. So to the school and the admission and the athletic director, I'm almost certain that they were sold that this was an actual athlete.
Right.
And so I
Of
think
course.
Rick Singer, I think his job was creating these packages to make these kids look like athletes and selling the school on the fact that this kid is actually an athlete and they're really not. And so I think that's where the school itself is going to save face. But then now again, the coach, Mr. Singer, and
Right.
his parents, they all are going to have to, like, you know what I mean? They're all going to have to talk because all of y'all committed fraud.
Well, William Singer is going to jail for a long time. That's a fact. That's I can say is a fact. The coaches that were involved in it, that you know, they're going to go as well, unless they can somehow prove that they had no clue. But I can't. I don't think that's possible. The university, like you said, yes, I believe that they will be okay, but they're going to obviously have to let go of all coaches and athletic directors and anybody who let this process happen through the steps that it happened. Um, and the parents, yes, I can say that they would, but I mean, I don't. They can say the same thing as the university. I did not know that this person would not have my son be an athlete. I did not know that this person was not a part of the athletic program. You know, A, B, C, whatever they need to do. I'm sure their lawyers could advise them in the proper way. But people that are going down from this would be obviously William Singer and anybody that was tied to the coach, athletic director, and anything in the sporting program that they did. Personally, that's what I think.
And so, from what I have also read, um, hold on, one of them. I can't. Okay, but damn, I might have to cut this one to do it just to see. But one of them, oh, Lori Laughlin's daughter. Okay, my bad. Yeah, Lori Laughlin's daughter even was making money in her college dorm room. So not only were
Mm.
you admitted to this school, but you became a YouTube influencer for and like an Amazon product reviewer in this dorm room that you you weaseled your way into, and now you're
Oh
making
man,
money out of this thing. You know what I mean? Like that's like a double slap in the face, especially the kids that probably really needed the money to go to school.
you know they could charge her in a weird way for student athlete making money. You think about it, because that's not that.
Yeah,
I mean, technically, if you want to
yeah.
say that you were a student athlete, technically, I mean, in the ways that you finagled your way into the school, and now you're making all this money on the side, that's against the law. Or that's against law and the rules of NCAA. So either you were a student athlete or you weren't. Either
Right.
you messed up by trying to get in and you weren't a student athlete, or you know what I'm saying, or you were a student athlete and now you just went against the NCAA and their rules on students not being able to make money.
Yeah, and so these and these kids, they're all still enrolled right now as of this story being put out today. So we'll see what happens with that. Like, do they, you know what I mean? Do they get removed from schools? Are they academic? Like, what does that happen? What happens? You know what I
I
mean?
mean, if anything, if they don't see any time, they're gonna have to pay for at least tuition for what they didn't have to pay. Like I'm sure of somehow that money's gonna be recouped
I don't
somehow.
even. I think it's bigger than that though. Not just paying the tuition. Like I personally think your whole like you all your college credits get wiped. Like if you've been there
Well,
a
yeah,
year,
yeah,
2 years, like all that, you don't get none of those. You gotta start all over again. Like nah, I'm not giving you none of that.
right, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, I would think anything that had to do with that school and you being there would be completely um, erased. So,
And here's and this is my last point on this, and I'm gonna go. But somebody brought this up to me right before we started recording this show, and they were like, why are these parents even tripping about these kids getting into these colleges or having bad grades? It's not like they can't just go work for their parents' company and they ain't got money anyway. Like, what are you tripping for?
no, I mean, yeah, they I don't know. It's weird that it would be people that had this type of money to do that, but I mean, you still want your kids to get an education, I guess. So I get it. I
Yeah,
get it for a parent thing, but yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Speaking of people dealing with the law, Conor McGregor was arrested yet again um, for smacking a phone out of someone's hand again um, down in South Beach. Don't know what all charges he's gonna, face from this. I thought I saw somebody say something about like a robbery charge from this. I know they be trying to like make up weird charges when fans or people get involved with fans and stuff like that. Um, but it's just another, mark to show that Connor is really, on this serious downward spiral ever since the Floyd fight. Um, he's never really bounced back. Obviously, he had that big altercation in New York. Um, and just never has really come back to fighting.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't. Well, he fought in the octagon and got killed, basically. We talked about that before. Before Floyd, I mean, he hasn't won in a long time. I'm gonna say he's gone to Hollywood, but the money's definitely got to Connor in a way that he's reckless. He doesn't care. I know that's his persona. I know that's his thing, and I mean he backs it up very well. I mean he's one of the best exciting faces, I guess, in combat sports, whether it be boxing or MMA. But he hasn't done anything lately. I mean, it's all bark and no bite right now. He just keeps messing up, keeps getting in trouble, keeps doing things to mess up his image. But it's like you did that before, but you were fighting and winning. Now you're just destructive because you're not even fighting and you're definitely not winning anything when you do. So, I mean, yes, the what is it? They charging them for robbery. Is that what it was? I mean,
Yeah.
that they can because what I read was, I mean, the man was out in Miami. It was after the club. Obviously he said his name, Connor, and wanted to take a picture with him, so he held up his phone. Connor came and brought him in close, like he was gonna do it. Grabbed his hand, brought him in close, and then snatched his phone and started stepping on it, breaking it. His security guards pushed him out the way, put the phone in his pocket. Dude asked for his phone back, kind of just laughed off and walked out his car. Still robbery. I mean, if you really, I mean, it's robbery. If you really want to say it, I mean, he stole his phone. But I do kind of understand Connor in some kind of way in terms of him not wanting his picture taken. But that's not where you go about it. And by
Yeah.
no means do you do that. Just like we've talked about Durant before, and any other celebrities, you have to understand that you get paid a lot of money not just for doing your sport. You get paid for handling yourself around people that might either look up to you or want to hate you. Period, point
So
blank.
so we're gonna touch on this, and we didn't touch on this when we were talking about basketball, but you talk about handling yourself. Russell Westbrook and the Utah Jazz fan. Obviously, this is all over the sports wire right now. Russ fined $25,000 for the comments that he made back to a Jazz fan. The Jazz fan permanently banned from the stadium for making what many have considered very racial slurs uh, to Russell Westbrook. Russ, who has been very vocal in the past about standing up to fans and fans drawing a line with fans. Um, Connor obviously went across the line and went too far. Do you feel like Russ went too far? Or do you feel like Russ kind of stayed within where he could and that's all he could do? Or do you think that Russ maybe just said a few things he shouldn't have?
Uh, yeah, I think what he said was a little bit outrageous. I mean, we don't really have to repeat it, but I mean, in a roundabout way, he told the fan he was going to f him up, and he'd do the same thing to his wife. Now, roundabout, that's what he said. I just didn't use the actual words.
That's what
Right. I just didn't use the actual F word with it. But my point is, I think what Russ said in that particular thing was wrong. Obviously, you don't say that to anybody. Just like you wouldn't say whatever the fans said to Russ. But I understand why Russ fired back at that because he wanted to say something just as hurtful to the fan that did that. Now, I do think Russ does have a point, and it does happen to him more than it happens to other players because I feel like people cross the line with Russ because of his reaction. I guess you could say, kind of like how people go at KD on Twitter and Instagram because they know he'll respond, so they overdo it. Now, that's Kevin Durant is a different story. Fans interfering with play and saying derogatory things to people about them or their family shouldn't happen. I talk shit all the time to everybody, especially about any type of sports I'm watching. Everybody knows that. I'm not going to do too much to anybody that I don't know because I don't know them. And I would never do that to any player because I don't know them.
Right.
They're still men just like you are. I am, and anybody else that's watching this TV show or a woman, they're still women or, women that's watching the show just like they are playing. You don't do that to anybody. You don't cross the line with anybody. You can just stay within the realm of sports or that person is fine except if you're using explicit content that especially have to do with somebody's ethnic background, religion, what have you, race, family, you know, the points that we all know that you shouldn't be talking
Right.
about. I do think the fans should have been banned. I'm glad they did that. The fine was pretty low in terms of NBA standards, but I don't think Russ was too wrong. It just looked bad because it was recorded and what he said was a little bit too much.
Yeah. And I agree there. Just sticking on the topic real quick, James Dolan from the Knicks banned a fan for telling him that he should sell the team. Again,
Right.
I think that's a little bit of a abuse of power. I don't think you can ban a fan just for saying that. I mean, that's not out of line. I don't know if the fan said anything else. Um, but this is also the same man that banned Oakley from the same stadium that he used to get money in. So um, we don't really know what's up with Jimmy Dolan over there and his what he's got going on. Um, we have one more thing, but my eyes lit up because I don't know if you're watching SportsCenter still or not. But right across my screen, Le'Veon Bell expected to sign 4-year, $52.5 million deal with the Jets. So Le'Veon may be back on the field for next season.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I saw it on my phone, but yeah, Le'Veon Bell to the Jets, just like you said. This could not be worse for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Losing a man for an entire season who arguably could have been, you say, your best player because it was, I mean, obviously him and AB were 1-2 punch for Ben Roethlisberger, and you lost both of them in 2 days.
Yeah.
It can't be worse for Steelers. I don't know what could be worse for Steelers fans. Like, I would have rather got rid of Ben and just drafted a quarterback than to lose those two dynamic players. Those two are amazing football players. They might have a lot of drama with both of them, but in terms of production, they are top two in their field or on their position. You should know you drafted him second in fantasy, but no production from him last year. Too bad you didn't have him this year. You know,
Yeah.
maybe you can redraft him.
I don't know. Um, I don't know what the draft where they picked. I was trying to look up real quick to see where Pittsburgh picks. Um,
I think they're around 20th. They're somewhere around 20th because they were middle of the pack right before the playoffs. So I want to say somewhere around the 20th.
and I don't know if they keeping all their picks this year or what their trade situation looks like. But I will say that yes, I agree with you that this looks terrible for if you're Pittsburgh right now, because you've got an older Ben Roethlisberger, you've got a Mike Tomlin who's kind of on the fence right now. In terms of a coach, he's really got to have something to prove next season. Um, and with giving these pieces to, with giving away AB, giving away Le'Veon, you're really going to have to pull some strings out of a hat offensively to put some things together for a team that was only, able to put together 9 wins last season.
Right.
Already as is with AB on the field. Obviously, Le'Veon Bell didn't play at all, but and I will say that he was the reason they lost some of those games. But you're now going to have to figure out how to create even more offense on a team that was already struggling, and so that's going to be the task, the challenge from them. And none of the teams in your division have gotten any worse except you. So.
Right. I mean, Baltimore, I think they were better towards the end of the year. They lost a few pieces, but I still think that actually take it back. They lost quite a bit of people now. They lost C.J. Mosley. That's not a good thing. They lost Suggs. They lost, But, I mean, you can compete at the bottom with them because the Browns, like I said, today is celebration day if you live in Cleveland because the Browns are back. You know what I'm saying? At least for today. And damn, that division sucks. Sorry about that. I just thought about him, Cincinnati and Baltimore. Oh my god, the Browns. I told you the Browns already won.
Browns won the division already.
They already won.
What's the little X clinch the division? That's what they put.
Yeah, put that right there. Put that right there. home berth for Cleveland. Somebody's going up to Ohio for the first round. That's a given.
For real. Let's buy some playoff tickets in Cleveland right now.
I'm not going to that place.
Either.
If I wouldn't go down there to watch LeBron versus the Warriors, I definitely ain't going down there to go see no damn Cleveland. And
that is not happening. So before we wrap up the show, we're not even going to talk about this. I just want to touch on this. Alex Rodriguez proposed to Jennifer Lopez, and the following day, instead of saying congratulations, Jose, Mr. Snitch Canseco himself decides to come out and put Alex Rodriguez on blast, saying that while he's been with Jennifer Lopez, he's also been with Canseco's ex-wife numerous times, and that A-Rod is a cheater. And so, I don't know. Obviously, Canseco's wife has come out today and said that all of that he's saying is false and that she never messed with A-Rod. He says he's got evidence. I think it's all messy and funny, and so I just had to bring it up. But
Jose Canseco is a hater. That's all I have to say. Look, this man is marrying Jennifer Lopez, man. Like, get over it. Like, nobody wants your wife. I'm sorry. Get over it. Like, he's a better baseball player than you. Get over it. It's done. I don't understand why people gotta hate him.
And he didn't have to use as many steroids for as long.
Exactly. You took 10 a day. He took 1. Like, and he's still better than you right now. Like, just get over it, man. Golly. Well, hate to the grave just because he hit more home, better percentage than you or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, man. So the eternal hater, Jose Canseco. So on that note, we're going to wrap up HellaFlagrant, the podcast, episode number 9. As usual, you can like, follow, share at HellaFlagrant DM, at Sean B. Flagrant, at The Flagrant Foul, at HellaFlagrant, at Flagrant Fans. Flagrant. And make sure you visit theflagrantfoul.com. I'm writing a story, too. I want y'all to go in there and read it. I went to the PBR, Professional Bull Riding competition. I've never been to a rodeo ever in my life. This was the first time I had ever been. And I didn't even know how big PBR is. Like, this is, I guess, the best bull riders in the world. And so there was bull riders from Spain, Mexico, Brazil, more Mexico, obviously the U.S. But I keep harping on that because this particular bull riding tour is sponsored by the U.S. Border Patrol. So I want y'all to go read the blog post I'm about to put together on that. Because, that was just an interesting time at the PBR.
Yeah, it sounds different. A cross between two worlds.
All sports.
Yeah, all sports, especially ones that cross against each other. But just like you said, and find us Instagram, Facebook. Obviously, go to the site www.theflagrantfoul.com. All this gear right here, shirts, different colors, sizes, men and women. www.hellaflagrant.com. Come support us. All our stories. Obviously, this podcast, the HellaFlagrant podcast. Trying to do more for y'all, so let us know how y'all feel about it. And here it is.
There it is. On that note, we out of here.
Peace.